Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about Ahsoka, the episodes 3, 4, and 5. So I have a lot to say about these episodes for sure, so let's get started. So part 3, Time to Fly. This episode's alright, it's kind of just like the early episode, so they're setting up the story still, and we're slowly getting it, as I think there's only 8 episodes this season. But it's nice to have something going on for the story, I guess. But in this one, it looks like Ahsoka and Sabine are trying to venture to the planet that they can track down our Darksiders, and because they have the map that can find Ezra, and they want that map, so you know the rest. And so it's basically like a big kind of like goose chase in space episode. It literally opens with Sabine's training on the ship Ahsoka's on, her little capital ship thing, and she trains with Hang, and I thought that was nice. Like I like how he has these pretend lightsaber things, and Sabine's training with her sword, like a wooden sword. It reminds me of Trials of the Darksaber, where Sabine had to use a stick to fight with Ezra before using the Darksaber. And she actually tries using the Force, and what this episode does show is that technically anyone could be Force sensitive. Like Obi-Wan said in New Hope, it penetrates through all living things. So technically anyone can be Force sensitive, but who knows if they had the will for it. It's still debatable if who can be Force sensitive, who's not. But honestly, Star Wars explores this stuff in very different ways through what the writers can do for it. And so what's next for these episodes is kind of just like a space battle. Sabine and Ahsoka are on a goose chase with Shin and Merrick. And I thought that scene was alright. It was just them trying to get to this hyperspace ring thing, and Ahsoka puts on a space suit and has a little battle before they are so she can prevent them from getting taken down. And I think what happens next is they just go into hyperspace, and they finally get to this forest planet. But we do get a scene with the Purgle, the things that we saw in Star Wars Rebels. I thought for sure we were getting closer to finding Ezra, but we know this is only episode 3, so we don't exactly know what we're getting yet. But it does end with Baylan telling Shin and Merrick to go find Ahsoka and Sabine after they landed on the planet. So this episode was fine. It teaches a few life lessons about the Force in a way. So I probably give this episode, you know what, I leave that for your interpretation. But these next 2 episodes are the ones I really want to talk about. Fallen Jedi. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, during the Hera segment of this episode, we do finally see Jason Sandua. I thought that was nice. I think the kid did alright. We still need to see more of his character, but we get more of him in episode 5 for sure. So let's talk about it in a bit. So Fallen Jedi, I just knew that title was something reminds me of Fallen Order. It's where Sabine and Ahsoka, they go in deep into the forest, and Hang tells them to stay with each other, but you know that they're gonna break that promise. This episode, it has a lot of lightsaber duels that are very samurai-like, which I really liked. And people were wondering who Merrick is, but it's revealed that he's just a Darksider, and it was kind of disappointing that we didn't get much of him, but he was basically the next Inquisitor. but little dust comes out of him once Ahsoka defeats him. And I think it's like Night Sister magic. That's my theory, that he's some kind of resurrected Darksider or something. And for the fan theory, some people compared it to like Snoke. Not really. I don't really view this as like a Snoke-like character. I feel like his character is bigger than Merrick. I view this as just Merrick is just some cool Darksider with the Inquisitor lightsaber. But the way Ahsoka kills him is like a little slash through the chest. But what we do get is Sabine versus Shin. Like we got a clash between Ezra's green lightsaber or Sabine's now, since she's the owner now of Ezra's lightsaber, so it's hers. And she modified it last episode. Well, she modified throughout the years, but they get into this cool little lightsaber duel. I do like the line where Shin's like going somewhere, and Sabine like first shoots at her, but then she pulls out the green lightsaber, and it's just like we're in this dark area and they're just fighting with their lightsabers. It's intense. But meanwhile, Ahsoka finally meets up with Baylan. So Ray Stevenson, he's really good at as this character. Like, he's really killing it in my opinion. He's very interesting, but my only issue is I just wish we'd want to know more about him. We still don't know his plan yet. Like, what does he want? Like, that's the only thing. Like, we're trying to slowly figure it out, what he wants, with the little thing that they're trying to track Ezra on. And they're also looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. And it's surprising that Baylan even knows who Anakin is. Like, he knows that Ahsoka is the apprentice. And Ahsoka's still dealing with it. Because what's fascinating is, like, Ahsoka, like, she's been through a lot. She's losing her ways through the Jedi. Like, they first portrayed her in if you saw in the Clone Wars, where she was framed for being a murderer, but that's why she left after she got her innocence proven. And then she just found out years later that her master is Darth Vader. And so, but they do get into a cool fight, Baylan and Ahsoka. But Ahsoka is thinking that Shin killed Sabine, but she didn't. And Sabine, I think she does try to save Ahsoka, but Ahsoka is literally thrown off the cliff. And then that's where we get this scene where Baylan offers to have Sabine go look for Ezra, because they have the information of the map that locates him and Thrawn. And Sabine decides to come along, but she's now their prisoner. That's the last we see Sabine. Because the next episode, Shadow Warrior, definitely has a lot going on. But we see this big scene. But before that, let's talk about Hera for a bit. So Hera is basically going to disobey the New Republic so she can go find Ezra, or team up with Ahsoka to go look for him. And honestly, that was a bit surprising by Hera. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's something she would do, but she always remains loyal to the Republic, whatever you want to call it. So, but anyway, Ahsoka is knocked out, and we don't know where she is. And at the end of this episode, and it looks like she's in the world between worlds. And that's where we see, big spoiler, I just showed the photo of my bad. We see Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen. I was shocked. I knew he was coming in this show, because I think they did announce it. But honestly, we can't have Anakin without Ahsoka. We need some closure, because Ahsoka never got to have her reunion with Anakin, but when she did in Rebels, she finds out that he's the Dark Lord of the Sith. And we don't know yet if this was a Force ghost or a vision, but we do get some kind of answer. It's up for your interpretation for the next episode, Shadow Warrior. So, Fallen Jedi was definitely a good episode for sure. Some good lightsaber combat. Yeah, we're still... But my only issue was, we're still trying to figure out what everyone's plan is, like the villains, and I wish we gotten some more characterization, but yeah, this was a good episode. So next, a recent episode, we finally get to see. I've been waiting for this episode. I was actually really psyched for it. And Ahsoka is meet up with Anakin, and this time, Anakin actually wants to attack Ahsoka. And that's where they get into this duel. She's shocked to even see Anakin, but Anakin just wants to fight, teach her a lesson. I do like the line where Hayden's like, "You're never too old to learn a lesson, Ahsoka." He even called her Snips, so it's crazy. Hayden Christensen saying the line Snips. And I never thought we would see live action Hayden Christensen meeting with Ahsoka, since we got Matt Lanter and Ashley Eckstein. We saw them throughout the Clone Wars, their bond in that show. But we never thought we'd see it in live action. Even though Hayden Christensen did offer to voice Anakin in the Clone Wars, but it was given to Matt Lanter. He did a good job, even if it was not Hayden Christensen. But anyway, what happens is we get this cool lightsaber duel. Like, what I like about this show is that we're getting a lot of lightsaber duels. We got more lightsaber duels than we got in the Obi-Wan show. So it does open with basically Hera, Jason, and Hugh looking for Ahsoka. And it's actually quite touching seeing Hugh hold the helmet of Sabine's and saying, I told them not to separate, but they did. And I honestly thought he could have led anywhere with Hugh. I almost thought he'd turn evil, but he didn't. You know, Hugh, he's quite the droid Jedi. But the best scene we get in this episode, we literally see a flashback of Anakin and Ahsoka. Honestly, it actually felt like there were stakes in this battle. Once I saw those clone troopers walking by, I was shocked. And literally Anakin's wearing the armor like he wore in the Clone Wars season 1 of the show, or the season 3. I thought that was crazy. I never thought we'd see something like that. And we get various Ahsoka flashbacks, and we also get a glimpse of Anakin slowly flashing from Anakin to Darth Vader. And we get some name drops. We got Obi-Wan, of course. I honestly thought we would see Obi-Wan in this episode, but we didn't. You know, it would have been crazy or if we saw Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and literally Ahsoka. All three of them in live action. But one of the best scenes is we get the Siege of Mandalore. It's crazy that we even got it in live action. And I just love it where Anakin's like, "Ooh, this is quite a battle." And then Ahsoka's like, "This is the Siege of Mandalore." We see Ahsoka from when she was younger to her in the Siege of Mandalore when she was probably 17. And then but then when she fades out of these little memories, she's back to being adult Ahsoka. And Anakin then has this dark side mode, and instead of having a blue lightsaber, it's red. This is so fun, and some people are probably going to complain this is all fan service, but I don't really care, because it's just fun to see these Star Wars characters together. But you're entitled to your opinions, of course. We all are, but yeah. But the craziest scene we get, in the background, we literally see a live-action Captain Rex. You know, Captain Rex is one of my favorite clones. That's no surprise. He's easily the best. And the armor looks amazing. They did a good job. And they literally got Tamara Morrison voicing it like a bamba. Honestly, Tamara Morrison's throughout most of these Star Wars live action shows, use in The Mandalorian. He got his own show in the Book of Boba Fett. He made a cameo in the Obi-Wan show. He didn't make it in Andor, but we did see clone troopers in that Andor. And now we're getting it in Ahsoka, unless I'm missing something else. I don't think so. And honestly, it's crazy that we're getting, this is like a big love letter to the Clone Wars fans, for sure. And just general Star Wars fans, fans of Ahsoka, Hayden Christensen. I like how mysterious Anakin was in these scenes. Like, he looks like his Revenge of the Sith self. Just same age as we saw him in the movie. But then later, after this vision's over, it's revealed that Ahsoka's actually in underwater. Yeah, she basically, during all this, Hera is looking for Ahsoka. And even Jason hears like lightsaber clashes in the water. I didn't really get that. I don't know but we do get a Kanan Jarrus name drop. I'm still wondering about Jason's character for sure. But basically what happens is Hera might be demoted because she's disobeying orders, and if she doesn't go back to Coruscant, she's probably gonna be kicked out of the rebellion, basically. But basically, she does use the Ghost. And by the way, the Ghost looks amazing. Like, they did a good job with the Ghost. I do like how Chopper and Jason are looking for Ahsoka, and they do track her. But that's where Jason does sense where Ahsoka is, and that's how they find her. And they literally pick her up. The X-Men pilots do. And Ahsoka wakes up the next day, and she basically is gonna tell Hera what's going on. And honestly, her new outfit, I don't have a picture of it, but it's like Gandalf the White. I know people are comparing Ahsoka to that. Honestly, I could somewhat see it. And so Ahsoka does have a little private talk with Hera, and she basically tells Jason to go hang out with Hugh Hang, and he does ask Hugh Hang how to build a lightsaber. Can I have one? And Hugh Hang's like, no. And he says, you know how to build one? He says, yes. And he's like, can I have one? And he goes, no. I just love it. Like, that's meant to be a funny scene. And Ahsoka basically tells Hera what may have happened to Sabine, and Sabine's become a missing person, basically, we might get that answer in episode 6. We don't see Sabine in this episode, surprisingly. We just hear the voice. I thought we would get a scene of her, but we didn't. But basically, the episode ends. I'm gonna rush it, but it looks like Ahsoka has found a new Purgle, even in this planet where they're in like the clouds. And she basically finds a way to connect with it, and basically she finds the biggest whale. And this is the key to finding, I guess, Ezra, Thrawn, and even Jason asks us about it. But Hera has to go back to the fleet, and that's probably what's going to lead to episode 6. And Ahsoka leaves, going into the unknown with Hugh Hang. So that's episode 5 of Shadow Warriors. That was an insane episode. A lot of love, and Hayden Christensen killed it as Anakin. So I don't know what issues I have. I think I mentioned earlier, I don't know, the pacing was a lot better in this episode for sure. You're probably just saying that because of the Anakin stuff. Oh, yeah, but like, this show slowly took its time a little just to build the characters so we can understand them in case some people didn't see Rebels. That's my only issue with the show. It's like you have to know Rebels just to understand the characters, but if some people didn't watch Rebels, they're gonna not really connect with these characters. But I've watched Rebels, and that's one of my favorite shows. But yeah, these episodes have been pretty good so far. The 5th one was definitely great, for sure. So I can't wait to look forward to the other episodes. So that being said, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.